Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the gamer scene. I am your host, of course, Sonicteer, or Connor if you prefer a proper name. Don't know why I change it sometimes. And today I bring you yet another review, and this time I'm taking a look at the Smite beta. Now for the Smite beta I could give you two reviews. I have a short review and I have a long review. My short review contains of the words "the offspring of League of Legends and Super Monday Night Combat after a giant fling," and that's basically what this game feels to me. I've never played League of Legends, but from what I've seen, this is certainly a game that looks a bit like something that would have been merged and maybe had a wild fling with Super Monday Night Combat and produced a quite successful game. So in the long review, we'll do a long review because I want this to go for a bit more than like 50 seconds that it's currently at. So the long review, I think we'll break it down again, but of course we can't do story, so we'll have gameplay. Gameplay, if you've not played Super Monday Night Combat, the gameplay for this game is where each side has minions spawning, and the idea is to guide your minions to the other side, to your enemy's side, and blocking the way there are 2 towers per lane and a phoenix per lane, or X amount of towers depending on what game you're playing, and then at the end you have to help your minions destroy the opponent's guardian. Now each map can have a different amount of lanes. For example, when you play single player there is 1 lane and you just have to get past 2 towers and then a phoenix and then of course the guardian, but in the multiplayer version there is of course 3 lanes, each containing 2 towers and a phoenix, and then there's 1 guardian, central guardian at the end. So the idea is to guide them through, and of course you have to guide the minions. You can't just go around and destroy the towers yourself because you are absolutely awful against towers, and if a tower targets you, that's it, it's curtains, game over. So you really have to guide the little minions through at some point in order to destroy the towers effectively. And of course you have these like boss characters which are a million miles stronger than the minions, of course, and so does the opponents. There's certain categories like mage, ranged, melee, assassin, tank, support, range, and so all that kind of stuff, and you can use different ones, and different ones have different strengths and that sort of thing. So it's kind of a very similar to Super Monday Night Combat in that way. And also dotted around the field you get these little power-ups where you have to destroy 3 rather weak enemies, and once you destroy them you get a little boost like restoring health, boosted attack or something like that, or boosted speed. And these are really kind of, I never really went and got them because I wasn't focused, I'm kind of gameplay focused, but other people getting them, and I could see how they could provide a little twist and a little bit of extra gameplay to really mix it up a bit. And I don't really, Super Monday Night Combat had something similar where you could get perks, but it wasn't really explicit in the way this is. So this makes it a lot more explicit and a lot more clear that you get a health bonus or you get an attack bonus, and it's really quite obvious. Each main character, each player character that you play with has 4 abilities which you can use to attack, like have a really strong attack, or set a certain area to restore health, or boost everybody around you's defense or attack or something like that. And whilst I tended to like the using attacking ones, the health ones did work, and of course if it's a ranged player you have range attacks, if it's a melee player you have more close-up attacks, and so you get stuff like that, and they definitely provide something good. But then the same thing, as I said, is in Super Monday Night Combat, so that's kind of what you're expecting. And also you can get items, and you can get purchased after you have a certain amount of health. No, not a certain amount of health. After you have a certain amount of coins which you earn in game by defeating enemies or minions, and so you can get them, you can level them up, and you can improve them. You can also level up your abilities, the 4 abilities that I mentioned, which is kind of nice. So it means that if you prefer a certain ability you can improve it whilst ignoring others, but if you want to have a bit more of a balanced character because you like all the abilities, you can improve them. And so it really makes quite a nice good leveling scheme. This leveling scheme is independent to the game's leveling scheme, which is you gain levels, and this gains you favour and gems, not gems, sorry, favour, which I'll talk about a bit later once I get onto that section. And so the objective of the game is of course to just get to the end, destroy the enemies, and do that sort of thing. And you can do it in different ways. You can team up, you can go solo, and as like Super Monday Combat did, there are the 3 main lanes. that the minions follow. For this is just an example. There are 3 lanes, of course single player 1 lane, other maps X amount of lanes, but in between these lanes there are little areas that the minions don't go down and that provide good cover if you need it to kind of recover or run away. And whilst there's no disadvantage of going in these lanes, there's nothing really to do apart from traverse between lanes or maybe encounter the odd enemy. So they're there just to provide a bit of cover and just to really do just to really mix it up, so you're not just going down the lanes if you want to go down the lanes. What else shall I talk about? Well, as I said, you can level up your abilities, and that's kind of a nice feature. I did mention earlier, a second ago, about favour. Now favour, once you get level ups outside of the game, what you can get is you can get favour, and these are you can spend the favour to get extra gods, or I think not extra sins, just extra gods, because of course you're playing as gods. This is Smite, you play as gods, different gods like Ra or Hades or Zeus and that kind of thing. So you get to buy extra gods, but it does take a lot of favour, so you're going to have to be getting a lot of levels, and if you win you tend to get a level a game, so it could only take 5 games, 6 games to get another god, but that's 1 god. And to be fair, I played a lot with the starting ones and I haven't really got an extra god yet, but I know you can, so it does take quite a lot of favour to get there. And of course this game is free, so they do need a money making mechanism, and with that you can buy gems for the game, and with these gems you can buy extra skins and I think possibly extra other stuff, and gods are quite cheap when you buy them with gems, which really encourages players to spend the money, which I don't mind because it's not in your face. You can play the game without having to spend money, so I'm alright with that. But if you want to spend a bit of money to give yourself a little bit of a boost, then you can, and that's alright with me. It's not DLC, it's just a little bit. Every free game has to have a way of making money, and this happens to be it. Now the sound for this game isn't as fantastic as I found in the Super Monday Night Combat. The Super Monday Night Combat had really good sound, and the commentators in it were really fun, and they really added a nice good element to the game to keep it flowing and keep it happy. Unfortunately in this game there isn't something like that, because it's a much more serious game with like the League of Legends theme kind of twisted in God's theme sort of in there. So you really don't get the fun theme, and the sound is just what it needs to be. There are no perks, there are no good things. Each character makes a different noise, but then that was the same in SMNC. The commentator is a bit bland. He just says enemy killed, friendly killed, attack right, attack left, that sort of thing. So there's not really much going on. But then again, I wasn't overly bothered. It's not game breaking, and it certainly has no bearing on the game at all. So it definitely makes no difference. The graphics are pretty. I have to say they look reasonable. That the attacks look nice. They each have a little effect, and they look pretty good. So it's quite impressive. And I did like it. I definitely did like it. So so the graphics there were all good. Multiplayer. Well, I have to say I had a few problems with a few players who were a bit going, "Oh, you're not very good at this game." And I always find that with this sort of genre, in the fact that if you're not good at the game, there are people that are very, very good, and if you're not good, they will take it out on you like there's no tomorrow. If I'm playing something like SMNC, people don't really care if you're not good, because at the end of the day it's a fun game. But if you start to get a more serious developed game in this genre and you're not very good and the game doesn't go well, people do get a bit more serious about it, and I did find that one flaw. On a whole, the community was very good, and I did have some good conversations and some good tactics with a lot of people, but this was a slight flaw that I did find, and so I definitely had a few problems with that. One of the main problems I did have with this game was the respawn times, and I know whilst it makes sense to have a respawn time just to stop people really spamming their characters in there, for me to have to wait an entire minute where I can sit there and not do anything without really much happening because my character takes a minute to respawn, that really ruined the flow of the game, because it was like whilst I wasn't crap or I wasn't amazing, I did die, and once you die a few times you get to a respawn time of about a minute, and that really disrupts the flow and ruins the game for me. But other than that, it was a good fun game. I won't play it excessively, but I will probably hop on it time to time because I've got a beta, and of course it is a beta. There are certain things that can improve and will change. So don't take this as the final word on what the game will be like, but definitely take this as a review of the game in whole. Anyway, I did enjoy the game, but it's not the best, so I'm probably going to give it something like a 7, maybe a 7 out of 10, 3.5 stars out of 5, because it was great, but it's not as good as Super and Monday Night Combat. People of the genre will love it, and I imagine people will love it like that. but it's definitely not as good as Super Monday Night Combat. I would prefer to go back to there. It doesn't, interestingly, have the server problems of Super Monday Night Combat. That had a lot of server problems to begin with. Smite has really not got that problem. They kind of have definitely catered for who they're going to be having there, and that is good to see. But this is definitely probably a 7 out of 10 for me, because it was enjoyable, but it wasn't super amazing, fantastic to get an 8. Anyway, that's me done with this review. That's all I can say on that. If you liked this review, there are the free YouTube buttons of like, comment, subscribe. You're on YouTube. Everybody tells you what to do, so I'm sure you guys know what to do. And I guess that's this review of Smite done. Anyway, that's me, Sonic out.